And I was just comfortable enough to kind of forget that, that comfort is does not exist in a vacuum. Nothing else seemed to compare to that level of like destruction that we are seeing. This is the only thing that is worth working on.
Education system needs an overhaul.
So back in school, I was actually uh, more into science. I don't think I had the room to think like that.
I have like a newfound respect for Gen Z after this.
There's a nala or a drainage stream, and it used to be a river, which has effectively become a waste channel, which is changes.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Impact Shift Series Season 2. Last season, we spoke to professionals who had already spent years making waves and contributing to the sustainability sector. This season, we're flipping the script just a little bit. We're talking to people who are still at the start of their journeys, asking big questions, trying bold ideas, occasionally winging it, and proving that you don't have to wait 20 years to start making an impact. And today's guest is exactly the vibe check that we had in mind for this season. She's young, curious, asking big questions, and already jumping headfirst into solving some pretty complex problems. Meet Sneha Singhania. From co-founding Mumbai Waterways to tackle plastic leakage in Mumbai's waterways, to building Mool, a venture making climate resilience more accessible to smallholder farmers. She's exploring what happens when design, technology, and a healthy amount of curiosity come together. So let's dive into the exciting journey of building impact from scratch.
Hi Sneha, welcome to Impact Shift. Impact Shift is all about inspiring more people to make a switch and think a little bit or a lot more about sustainability and climate action, and of course in their daily life. So, very warm welcome, and let's get started.
I'm very, very excited to be here. So thank you so much for having me. And I hope I can change some minds.
I'm sure you will, because I think it's so inspiring that at such a young age, you've decided that this is what you want to do. And that's just fantastic. It's fabulous. It just goes to show how much more, younger people are thinking about climate and climate action and just having a sustainable future for everyone. It's the first question. What was it that you started off wanting to do, wanting to study, wanting to be? I'm sure you had an ambition when you were a child, when you were in school. What was that? And what happened to make you change your mind and think, no, this is the way I want to go?
Design has been absolutely vital in every stage. So it hasn't been like I left design and, I went into impact or climate. I think it has been a very constant feature in all my work. So back in school, I was actually more into science. Right up till grade 12 actually, and I was pushed by all my teachers to go into something scientific, but it was something about our education system in India that didn't really make me believe that I could do something creative in science. I don't think I had the room to think like that, and I knew that I needed that creativity to actually find my own path. So that's why I decided to take up design, and I completed my bachelor's at NIFT, National Institute of Fashion Technology. And so that was my way of finding a path where I can experiment, where I can build with people. And I think slowly, after that, during my bachelor's and after that, I realized that it doesn't have to be one or the other, basically. I started realizing that I want to work with people, but not just from an art perspective, but from an academic research and field work and also actual community building as a venture. And that kind of broadened, I would say, my understanding of how design can be applied to society. And so like that's what the journey has been, and I think that is what eventually led me to climate as well. So it's been gradual. It's been everything coming together.
Like two things. One, I think we can say without a doubt that our education system needs an overhaul, because if there's someone who's thinking about design and climate in the same breath and talking about it in the same breath, then it definitely needs that there needs to be a place where you can work on both those things together right from the start.
Yeah.
Rather, I mean, I have like a newfound respect for Gen Z after this.
Yeah, I'm very excited to actually see like how this will become a more structured thing, because this was like impulsive, which is great. Like you can actually see that okay, there is support, but if there's actual thinking and like proper planning, then I think it could be even bigger.
But you're still in your early 20s. So what is it that made you, think of this area of work?
So like I said, I started with design, right? And then, of course, like with the heightening climate crisis, I don't think it's a single event that makes you think that, oh, like climate change is getting really bad. So it wasn't a single thing, but I think sometime last year, it kind of dawned on me that this is the only thing that is worth working on. I was definitely in a space that I was trying to figure out my next steps. I wanted to be able to make I wanted to be able to make bigger changes, not just in people's lives, but also like in my personal journey. I wanted to be able to actually have bigger impact, essentially. And as I was looking for ways to do that, and also looking for things to study further. Like for my master's, I was looking at different careers possible. When I started looking in the climate direction, I realized that it has to be this, and nothing else seemed to compare to that level of like destruction that we are seeing. And also like especially in terms of the global south, I would say the problems are definitely personal to me as well. Like I grew up in middle class housing in Mumbai, and I was just comfortable enough to kind of forget that that comfort does not exist in a vacuum. Like there is the reason you are comfortable is because somebody else is not, just as plainly as that. And so like even behind my own house, there's a nala or a drainage stream, and it used to be a river which has effectively become a waste channel, which is common across Mumbai, right? And so watching like that landscape change, I think also made me think about the questions that I would like to answer or the challenges I want to work on.
What is it that you're going to study now for your master's?
So I'm going to study clean tech innovation, which is basically at Imperial College London, and it is basically a combination of climate, entrepreneurship, and also engineering. So they want you to develop clean technologies with the help of engineering and specifically apply them to climate problems.
But when you were looking for your, for what degree or what sort of stream that you wanted to study, was it like a conscious decision? Were you thinking in a particular direction, or was it just something that you stumbled across and thought that stumbled upon and thought that, hey, this looks interesting, let me find out more about it? Like, which direction did you approach it from?
Yeah, no, so I definitely had a few criteria that I was checking, all career fields and also programs against. For starters, one of the biggest limiting factors I had was that I had a Bachelor of Design. So I couldn't apply to extremely technical fields. So that's definitely like one big thing that was blocking out a lot of fields for me. But I was very, very keen to get into something that is technical, is scientific. So I was searching for something that's, that has that. Another factor that that played a role was the city. I wanted the location to be cosmopolitan because I thrive on people. I knew that no matter what I'm studying, I want to be able to apply it to a city, to people, and actually be inspired by the community, which is not available in a lot of cities, right? Most cities are smaller towns, so that was one of the big factors which kind of limited me to, say, New York, London, Amsterdam, and in India, like Mumbai, right? So those were the kind of places that I was looking for, and Berlin in Germany. So that was one factor, and then the final factor kind of tied all of the uh, want for impact and change, like it kind of, but that was still quite broad. So I came across programs, and I also applied to actually a very wide variety of programs. So climate at Imperial was one of them, but I also applied to urban spatial science at UCL, which teaches you how cities are systems, and you kind of study that aspect. But it was always about people and making some kind of change along with community.
What is something that you've learned through working in the different fields that you worked? You worked with.
So I worked in clean water. Currently, I'm working
water.
in agriculture and finance, like smallholder agriculture. But yeah, mostly been focused on India and the general global south.
What is something that you've learned? Maybe like a commonality between all of these different spaces that you've worked in?
Yeah. So, not to get too vague, but I feel like something that I have noticed is how far you can get if you just stick with the discomfort a little longer. And especially because like I've been changing my domain so much, and often you feel like, oh, like this doesn't feel right, or sometimes even going against your intuition sometimes, because your intuition is based on your past experiences, right? And also not knowing where my path is going, like exactly where it's going, I feel like that usually tends to be a good thing. So that's something I've learned, that it's all right to not know.
And that's going to help you so much, because this is one place where sometimes A doesn't always lead to B,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah,
Things don't
almost
work out
never.
as you.
Almost
Yeah.
never. Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of surprises along the way, a lot of discomfort, but hey, it's all worth it in the end, right? What's the most unexpected place or, conversation that's kind of changed the way you think?
I had the chance to visit New York twice, once last year and once the previous year. And both times, for starters, I love the city. Like, it's absolutely incredible. And I have learned so much about myself because you get to interact with so many different types of people, right? Like, it's a hotspot of like so many different cultures coming together. But the majority of the people there are from developed nations, right? And something that like I realized through these conversations was, more often than not, people from developed nations cannot fully understand the challenges of developing nations. And this, I mean this specifically for climate and for clean tech. The kind of issues that we're, grappling with here are seen from a very third perspective there. And so that made me think about who needs to be the person, like, and when I say person, I mean like a larger body of people who needs to be making those changes in the global south. Like, can it really be like, because European nations have really lovely climate standards, right? Like, they're doing the work in terms of making the changes, but can they be the people to make the changes in the global south, or does it need to happen here itself? Because they have the power to make the change, right? And so that's why we often, like, for example, with like CBAM and other such mandates that European nations have, which are supposedly helping us, make fix the climate. It yeah, I think it made me think about like it made me realize that it needs to come from within the global south, essentially. For sure, like we should learn, we should adapt, we need to work with them, but it can't be them just
Dictate.
deciding the structure. Yeah.
Okay, so our next question. If your career journey had a movie title, what would it be?
Okay. Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Because of all the continuous changes.
Oh gosh, but it's the best thing, right? In your
Yes,
youth, when you
absolutely. I would have it no other way.
And then, if your impact shift, your move from what you did before, what you thought you'd be doing, to what you're going to do next, if it had a playlist, what would the title track be?
Okay. So this has to be a real song?
Ideally, yes.
Yeah,
Unless you want
okay,
to make
okay,
up
cool.
one, like,
Okay.
please,
No, I
please,
think
please.
I think it would be there's a song by Jungle, the band, called Us Against the World. I think that would be the title track. Yeah, I like to run to
Okay.
that song, and I think it's apt.
Nice. I think we'll have to play it here for everyone because it's like old people like me
Yeah,
might
it's very
not know it.
no, it's very upbeat and
So this brings us to the last question on the list.
okay.
What is your advice for someone thinking about making their own impact shift, especially early on in their career?
I don't know if I'm really the best person to give advice, but I can definitely share uh, something that I believe in, and which I actually think you might agree with. Is that I don't really think impact and sustainability should be thought of as a separate field or like something that you will make a change and jump into something that's entirely new. If somebody's even thinking about this a little bit, I think that's a very good time to kind of just zoom out a little bit. And if you look at the bigger picture, I think we kind of tend to realize that it's not like impact is not one domain or industry. I think that we can implement in whichever space we are in, and we should be implementing every single domain simply because that's the state of the climate crisis. Like, it is not limited to one sector trying to change the world. It needs to be everybody stepping up. So don't think of it as a transition. And I think that is what has helped me personally as well. And also gives you a little perspective about what climate change is right now, right? It shouldn't be just COP happening and like all the countries trying to come together for that one event and trying to think about climate change. It needs to be all of us and everywhere.
Absolutely. I don't think we could have said it better. I don't think I could have said it better. It's literally what we're writing about, talking about, and just banging on about every single day of our lives. That even if you're just a normal person living at home, it is something you need to think about every day at every point in your life. Amazing. But you know what? We do also have a website. It's
Yes.
www.greenpistachio.in. And it literally has a whole bunch of resources that anyone might need, not just people who are looking for everyday hacks for sustainable living, but also people who want to study about it, who want to start working in this space or want to build something in this space, as well as policymakers. So regardless of where you come from or where you want to go, you will find something on Green Pistachio. So I hope you check it out and I hope you spread the word. And
Yeah, absolutely. That's lovely. Because I think
Keep
like
going.
that's very important. Like you need to have like anything in climate, I think there needs to be a chance to kind of rabbit hole into it. So what you were describing, I think that really allows one to, like, even if you've come onto the website to look for just an everyday hack, you might end up reading about the larger crisis, which is cool. Yeah.
Amazing. So we look forward to having you on the website, and do subscribe and share this with your friends. You're going to make a whole bunch of new friends very soon now, who are all going to be thinking about climate every day. Great. This was amazing. Thank you so much, Sneha, for your time and for being a part of Impact Shift. It was absolutely lovely chatting with you.
Same here, likewise. I absolutely love being here. This was very fun. Thank you so much.